I'll tell you what, mate. At this rate, we're going to have our own goal of the season competition. Literally, screamer after screamer after screamer. I suppose we better have a chat about the game then.
Let's do it.
Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the latest episode of B6 and Beyond. You are here with me and Cory tonight to discuss a 1-0 Derby Day win against Wolverhampton Wanderers. Before we do get into it, I just want to remind everyone we do have an ongoing giveaway for either match tickets or a shirt of your choice. All they need to do to qualify is hit that subscribe button. We give that away every 500 subscribers, and we are getting close to the next giveaway, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't miss out. We also have a goal on this video of 20 likes, so smash a like. We do appreciate it because it does help the channel grow. So let's get into it. Right, before we do speak about the absolute belter of a strike from Boubacar Kamara, which is hot on everybody's tongues at the moment, I do think it is paramount we talk about some of the negatives to begin with, because I don't particularly think personally myself it was a very good day at Villa Park. I don't think we were good, and I thought we were very sloppy in possession. We moved the ball very, very slowly, passive, and it weren't Villa. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, it almost felt like I sent a voice note to yourself, obviously, during the game. It almost felt like we just said to Wolves, "You're not playing well. Here you go. Have the ball for 20 minutes, half an hour. See what you can do. Get yourself some confidence up, and see if you can grab a goal against us." I don't know what sort of was happening. Really, it was really frustrating. I think for most of the season we've not played particularly well, but we've sort of seen glimpses in both halves of something. But that first half, especially, I came away from that first half genuinely for the first time this week thinking we're going to lose this game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, mate. There was spells I thought that as well, especially after the disallowed goal from Strand Larsen. You had this chance which was saved at the near post from Emi Martinez, which he should be saving. It was right at him. And they were creating the more clear-cut chances. Obviously, we had the one literally after 2 minutes. I'm not quite I haven't watched any of the highlights back, to be honest with you. But, you know, from what you told me, it hit the crossbar. I couldn't really see that from where I was sat. And it was just, apart from that, there weren't really much that happened in the first half. Speaking of, if we go into individuals, I think there was a lot of performances in that first half that were nowhere near the calibre of what we expect from an Aston Villa team. Whether that was fatigue potentially from in the week, I don't know what would be the root cause of it. But we weren't good enough. It was like we were second to every ball. I thought Buendia was particularly poor, kept giving the ball away. I thought Tielemans was terrible again. I saw some people saying he's been good recently since he's come back, but personally I completely disagree. I think he's been really poor. Just trying to think who else. Marlon. Everyone's been screaming for Marlon to start, but
I think the problem is you, like I say, we don't want to be digging people out because at the end of the day we did win and things like that. But performance-wise, we have to look at it and say, overall, this season, let's not forget before his injury, Tielemans was playing poor before the injury as well. I think he's just had a very poor season. His passing's been terrible. His deliveries were that bad it got to the point where Matty Cash started taking corners ahead of him. And I think Matty Cash put in some good corners. But again, Marlon, it was one of those games where obviously we've all been banging on that door saying he needs to get a chance, he needs to have his start. And yet again, when he gets his start, he's just not involved. I mean, that first half, I think at one point it came up to say he had 9 touches. I don't know what he finished on in the end, but it can't have been many more. Kamara was really poor.
Would that have any effect, the fact that Morgan Rogers didn't do a lot either? And obviously he's the person that should be picking that ball up in those areas and feeding Daniel Marlon. So ultimately, if he starved the ball, starved the possession, the only thing that for me was a bit worrying was he just weren't really showing for it or making runs down the channel, which he was doing really well in the week and against Leeds last weekend, which is the reason why he's earned his start. I just think, look, I'm not one that, I know people say, we've won, and you've just mentioned it as well about digging players out. It's not about digging players out. Ultimately, we have a standard that we know that we can operate to, and ultimately, I don't think it's a bad thing if you as fans are challenging and speaking about when players have underperformed, because ultimately we're going into 2 fixtures now. And not even just the 2 fixtures. If you look past them, we've got a really tough run of fixtures coming up over December now. And that performance level today, the performance level in the first half against Leeds, the performance in the second half against Young Boys isn't going to be good enough to when you come up against Brighton away, Arsenal at home, Manchester United at home, Chelsea away. I'm just thinking, I can't remember all the fixtures off the top of my head.
Man United we've got at home.
Yeah, said that. Yeah,
Got West Ham away.
They go West Ham. Well, you could probably get away with it at West Ham because they're absolutely terrible. But the other side, you're not going to get away with it, are you? And they'll be more unforgiving than what today was.
I think the key thing is, listen, we always say on this podcast, we'll be honest about everything. If players aren't playing well, we'll say it. We'll do the same with Emery. If there's ever games where Emery gets it completely wrong, we'll say that, because at the end of the day, like, they're not immune to criticism. There's a reason we sort of have these chats, and it's not to say that we think that Tielemans is a bad player. He's just having a bad season so far. We don't think Kamara's a bad player. He's just had a poor last few games. Obviously, saved himself today a bit with that goal, which we'll get onto in a second. The Marlon Watkins situation's becoming a bit more of a worry for me. I just think that thing of, obviously, Marlon's been scoring more recently, which is great, but he's obviously been doing it against lesser opposition. So it's like those games that you're speaking about where you're coming up against Brighton, you're coming up against Arsenal, you're coming up against Chelsea, Man United, even West Ham to an extent. Who then plays and who's getting those goals? That's where that.
I'm really on the back foot about Marlon being a lone man up top. I don't like it.
He can't do it on his own.
He can't. He's not. Don't get me wrong. Against Young Boys, he was all right, because let's be honest, they're terrible, and we dominated a lot of the ball. But this is the reason why Ollie Watkins is so important. Yeah. He has to start games. Like, he has to be our starting striker against Arsenal. He has to be the starting striker against Brighton. Yeah, he didn't do very well when he come on today, but ultimately coming in cold and you're coming into a game. But that's
to be honest, I don't think he did terribly. And obviously, you obviously had the position of you were at the game, so you might have seen stuff that I didn't see. I think the one thing that we lack when he's not playing is the sheer desire to win the ball back. There was a few occasions where he was chasing 20 yards. I mean, he won the ball back off was it Andre or João Gomez at the edge of the box in that second half, where he gave away a free kick because the Wolves player picked it up. I think the main thing that we lack, and one thing that, especially watching the Arsenal game today, which could come in against us, is the team are very soft. When things started to get a bit rough today with Wolves were throwing in a few challenges here and there. The ref wasn't giving fouls our way and stuff like that. Our players then shy away. They start to get frustrated. I mean, I thought Wendy was going to get himself sent off with the amount of moaning he was doing. Rodgers isn't one for sort of going into challenges. He's always sort of throwing himself around. And that's what we need. Arsenal today, though, when they play Chelsea, the challenges were flying everywhere. I mean, that's probably a similar level derby to what Wolves Villa is. It's not really a derby, but it's that same sort of area where, and that was a proper sort of both teams going for it. And today we just sort of lack that. And I think it's just a case of we've got the quality that Wolves don't.
Yeah, look, let's park the negativity, because I don't want to be on this for too long. I just wanted to just mention that there were some particularly underperforming players, and I think we just need to, and I'm pretty sure they will. I'm not sure about Brighton, but we seem to raise our level to match the standards that we need to. Yeah. And I think against Arsenal, look at Manchester City. That was the best performance that I've seen all season. I thought we were brilliant there. Manchester City and Bournemouth in particular, I thought we were fantastic. I want to talk about some of the positives, and I think it's a good opportunity. I think we need to speak about Emiliano Martinez for a start. Look, obviously myself, I was quite vocal about it, and there's other fans that were as well. You know, the way it all come about in the summer and everything, but he's still a top goalkeeper, and his save before the break from the corner today was magnificent, absolutely magnificent again, and he has been pretty good this season. You think that's safe to say?
Yeah, no, I think another thing that's gone under the radar is not just the save itself, the second save that he makes when he's fallen down. Because he's fallen down onto the ball and is then able to palm it away. He could have easily have fallen straight onto that ball and knocked it in. We've seen, obviously, he's done that before against Arsenal at home, that sort of thing. But, like you say, in moments where he is needed, he always seems to set. Leeds last week, that header at the end of the game that Strauch won, it was a routine save for Martinez, but it's still one where he had to react quickly.
Do you think he's going in January?
I don't think January, but I think he'll be going. If I'm being honest with you, I had this discussion yesterday with a Villa fan, actually, and I said I'm more than happy for him to go. I think if we can find the right replacement, which for me, again, some people may disagree, but for me, it's James Trafford. I think if we can get someone like James Trafford in January, I'll be more than happy to see Martinez go.
Yeah, I can't really talk about the replacements because Trafford would be a good one, but I just think you know the thing really I don't like what he's doing at the moment, and you probably noticed it. He just every single game straight down the tunnel,
Yeah.
straight down the tunnel, doesn't care. Like he clearly. Well, this is my perception of it, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other Villa fans have. Because I've seen some of the away contingent that travel every game, and they're banging on about it. Like, it's not a good look, is it, man? Come on, like he just shows that he doesn't particularly want to be there. Would you say that's fair to say?
I think the weird thing is, and the thing is with Emi Martinez is you never know what's going on inside his head. I don't know whether it's a thing of he's doing it because he's just trying to be this all nonchalant, weird sort of persona that he has, or whether he still feels he owes Villa fans something, if that makes sense, and he still doesn't feel like he's earned the right to be able to take plaudits at the end. Or so, but I mean, obviously,
Weird.
like the whole thing when he declined wearing the captain's armband originally.
That's fine, though. He doesn't deserve it.
Yeah, true. But I don't know. I do think he will be leaving at the end of this season, definitely.
Let's move past that one. I just thought
Yeah.
I'd ask your thoughts on it because I remember it's just a weird one, isn't it? Defense. I think we should speak defensively. Yes, we were breached a couple of times today, but I've done a video on TikTok about it, which some of you may have seen by now. Like a lot of people are talking about us not creating a lot of chances, but I still think defensively we are very, very, very resolute. I think Matty Cash has been one of the best performers in the Premier League this season, never mind for Villa. And, Pau Torres and Ezri Konsa, the consistency levels from them two, superb. And let's you can't not mention another one. Luca Dean. What a revelation he's been. He was one of the ones that we thought was going to be sold when Unai Emery first came in, when he brought in Alex Moreno. He saw off Moreno. He's seen off Maatsen. Again, fantastic.
He's a brilliant player. He's a brilliant servant. He does the simple things well. He's obviously formidable when it comes to defence. He's very strong in that sense. He very rarely puts a foot wrong. It's funny actually because like I was looking at it today and I was thinking I don't know how to pronounce his name. The Wolves right winger. He's
whatever his name is.
Yeah, he's the fastest player in the Premier League in terms of recorded speed this year. And there was a couple of times where they put it in behind and he absolutely blitzed Digne and Pau Torres. And I was thinking, that's going to be a problem. But then straight away after the first time he did it against Digne, he was there every time. Digne knew what to do. He knew where to be. And that's the thing with Digne, is he is one of those where I think once he gets beaten once, he very rarely gets beaten the same way again.
He's clever, isn't he? Very clever. John McGinn, I don't think he was particularly brilliant today. So I've seen some people say that they thought he was good, but I don't. But what I will say is, in moments where we needed a captain, he gripped it by the horns, and he showed leadership. Like there was that one when I think it was out there, a corner, and he picked the ball up and ran the length of the pitch and got a corner for Villa. I don't know any other players in our squad that could do that.
Do you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because it reminded me of the Blackburn game. He did it in the Championship, and it was in that documentary. It was one of his first few games for Villa, and that's what made us sort of fall in love with him as a player. Just that sort of tenacity to do that and drive forward. But as you say, he's not the best player. There's no denying that. He's not the most technically gifted. He's not the best sort of looking player on the ball. This, that, and the other. But the one thing he does do, which is why he's captain, is things like that, which just boost the morale. In moments where we need him to step up, you look at the PSG game when he got that goal, you look at the playoff final, all those other sort of games where you need him to step up, he does that. And even once he takes that one step extra, that's when Villa start to do the same. Everyone sort of looks at him for those reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And
big game, John.
Well, the thing is, there's a reason he doesn't play 90 minutes, and it's not because he's a bad player. It's because by the time the 70th minute comes,
He's knackered.
he's absolutely blown out his arse. Like I mean, there was, I think we got a corner in the last minute where we tried to keep it in the corner with him and Rogers, and you just see McGinn there with his hands on his knees, and he's absolutely gone. And then he's still managing to hold the ball up against two players. He's a phenomenal player.
Yeah, I
in
love
that
him.
sense. Yeah,
Love him. Not quite sure on the tifo today.
yeah. I wasn't a massive fan. I like the idea behind it. The sentiment's nice, but I think I could have made that on word art, but
Yeah, it just seems like the
it
person.
wasn't very intimidating for a derby, was it?
Well,
Derby.
I don't think that's the point of it being intimidating, is it? But what's the point of having a tifo? You might as well just like a one of the surfing flag things across the hole or something like that.
Yeah.
The whole point of a tifo, you're right, is to be a bit imposing or something. It's not, and I don't like this whole club funded tifos and stuff. I think the club needs to be getting the 1897 group a lot more involved and invested in what they're doing, because they've, when they've done stuff like, they did the poppy thing recently. They have done other bits where they've got the flags in the stands and stuff like that. Clearly, they know the club better than these people that are doing it. They're fans at the end of the day, so they should be heavily involved in this. That's my belief anyway. What else? Is there any other bits that we've not spoke about that you can come to your
There's
head?
one thing I want to briefly talk about, because it's becoming a bit more of a broken record thing, and it's a specific player, and it's not about the player himself. So it is Harvey Elliott, but it's not about him being left out or anything like that. My question is the creativity side of things. So we're 19th in the league for chances created. We've got a player like him who's obviously not getting games. Where do we think that leaves us? Because it's coming up to January now. What happens then? Do we see? Because obviously, I think all Villa fans would just like to hear from either Unai Emery or Harvey Elliott. Someone just come out and say, "This is what's happening. This is the case." Because realistically, we know we're not creating chances, and we've got a player like him on the bench who, by this stage in the season, probably could have created 40 chances on his own. He's that good of a player at creating chances. So what's the situation there? And are we going to have to look somewhere else in January to say we're going to bring someone else in to do that?
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I'm getting fed up of talking about Harvey Elliott right now.
Yeah.
I just want January to come and just to understand whether it is because of the financial situation with UEFA squad cost ratio, whatever, regulations, whatever it's called, or it is actually the fact that Unai Emery just doesn't fancy him, and then we can move on then.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like, I mean, this sounds horrible to say. There was a bit in the first half where Buendia picked up a bit of a knock. I think he went into a challenge, and I think he kicked the underside of the player's boot. And part of me was sort of hoping that it might have been a little injury, and he's out till January, just because I just want to be able to know what's going on in that situation. Because if someone like him does get injured,
who's next?
Yeah, then obviously Elliott has to at least come onto the bench, and surely we're not going to start Ross Barkley in the 10 every game.
I think you'd see more of Sancho before you see Elliott.
But then Ross Barkley's got injured now, so he won't be there for the Brighton game, I wouldn't have thought, at least. So
what was the injury? Was it his knee?
Yeah, he collided knees with one of the Wolves players, I think. Speaking of which,
it might be alright. Might be just a sore one.
That striker who came on for Wolves, Jesus, did you see the size of him?
Yeah, he's a unit, innit?
Lost every header to Onana, though.
On Wolves players, the red card that wasn't a red card, that was VAR. Yes. That was a really weird situation, that was. And when you're inside the stadium, obviously we couldn't see the replay straight away. So like when the referee gave his description of it, and he said it was reckless, but it wasn't serious foul play, I found that so strange. I thought, like, if it's reckless, it should surely that constitutes a red card. But having that, they did flash up the replay of it on the screen. Yes, it was a bit reckless, but it wasn't a red card.
For me, it was one of them where if he'd have gone more into like a slide with it, it's a straight red, no doubt about it. he's jumped down, and luckily for him, he's landed on the top of Kamara's foot. I think if he goes any higher, like the ankle or anything like that, he is off. I had this sort of luxury of I was watching it at home, so I could see when Kavanagh went over to the screen, you can see him shaking his head, and you could see he wasn't going to give it at all, even though they wanted him to send him off. That's why he went over. Obviously, they told him it was a red card offence. But like you say, even when I was watching it, the way he described it, even I thought he was going to get a red card. Serious foul play after review, serious foul play, but not endangering yellow card. It's like, well, surely you can't give him a yellow card.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. Anyway,
It's happened. It was irrelevant in the end. Yeah.
There's one man you've just spoke about. This is the perfect time to speak about it. So we did win the game. Funny enough, just to let you all know if you didn't realise after the podcast, because it probably seemed all doom and gloom. But no, we did win, and what an absolute wonderful strike by Boubacar Kamara. No backlift, pure technique, bosh, top bins. Don't see Sandro Tonali scoring them, do you, son?
It was, yeah. I mean, it's funny, really. So Boubacar Kamara scored 2 goals for Aston Villa in the Premier League. Both with his left foot, both from outside the area.
Yeah, and because the one was at Spurs, weren't it?
Yeah. It always seems to fall on his left foot, to be fair. When I've noticed that whenever he's shooting, it always seems to fall on his left. But listen, I mean, it's one of them. I didn't expect him to shoot, let alone for it to go in.
It took me a second to shoot either. To be fair,
it took me a second to process that it had actually gone in. I think I'd reacted before I realised it went in. I was just sort of sat literally here, just like, oh my god, what a goal that is, without even realising it had gone in. It was just a very good strike.
Right, so we've won the game, 3 points. Ultimately, that is the main moral of the story. We've got the result in the derby that isn't a derby, and we march on to Brighton. We need to obviously increase our performance level to Brighton, but for me, we are going in the right direction. Defensively brilliant. We are winning games by screamers. It doesn't matter how you do it, as long as you score and you win a game, you win the game. And yeah, on to Brighton. I don't know if you've got anything more you want to go through.
No, that's all right.
No. So, final one from me and Cory.
Up the Villa.